You're listening to the Masonic Lite podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
And Jack.
Hey, that's me.
Hey, happy 45th episode, everybody.
Yay.
It's very exciting.
Congratulations.
And so yeah, we had a really busy couple of weeks since our last episode. I guess Masonic crap is really in full swing this time of year.
But we didn't take half a year off like our brothers in Australia did.
Only 4 months.
4 months, half a year.
It's summer for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is episode 52 in the summer in the Southern Hemisphere. So.
Well, that's because of the metric system. It's really
right.
like
Exactly.
episode 18.
Yeah. If we were in the metric system, we'd be far ahead. I think we should mention, though, that we didn't miss a week. It was a bye week again. It was a fifth Monday week. So it feels like this episode came out a week late. It did not.
It did not.
So no, you're not getting your money back.
Nope.
Because we record on the Masonic schedule.
That's right. We release on the first and third Mondays. Sometimes Tuesdays if I make a technical error.
So Jason,
Pete.
what have you done Masonically the past 3 weeks?
The past 3 weeks. I don't remember.
That's important.
If my stated meeting was before or after last episode. Doesn't matter. First stated meeting of the year, new officers, that was good. And then just admin stuff, really. We don't have a meeting in Harrisburg, Scottish Rite in January, but we had an executive meeting and work every day. Committee meetings, all that stuff. Getting ready for the March 3rd event in Lodge 43. We'll plug that later. But, yeah, lots of admin stuff.
And you had Grotto last night.
Oh, yeah, I did Grotto with you guys.
You remember any of that?
Nope.
That was a long day of grottoing. Because the meeting was at dinner, cocktails were at 6. The meeting was at 7.
Right.
And you started at 2?
I did not. He did. Jack did.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
No, Jack had he had 2 pre-meetings. I had 1 pre-meeting. Try to sort out our meal plan for the ensuing year. So, no, it wasn't too bad. I made it through the Grotto meeting. It was the post-Grotto meeting that they got a little cloudy.
Yeah, so as we're trying to leave, the outside bar was closed because the bartender got sick. I don't know, probably the flu, and now we're all sick.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and
I'm losing my voice.
So they sent us inside where there was a private party of a big restaurant from Cornwall, like not the UK. There's a crappy town near us called Cornwall. And yeah, so it was just us and a bunch of drunken servers. And I don't know how any of them looked. Nobody looked over 21.
Nope.
And everybody looked kind of drunk. So good times.
Thanks.
Jack, what have you had going on?
What have I had going on? Ooh, grammar Nazi time. Wait, look that up. I had my first meeting as high priest for my Royal Arch chapter. And for an amateur night, I thought it went pretty well. I am so stoked about chapter. The guys are very excited. They're learning their work. They're asking for books. They're coming to rehearsals. So chapter is very exciting right now. We're looking to grow that nicely this year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I hear the line's really, really safe and secure for many years.
At least 2. Yeah.
That's many.
After me. So, yeah. But it's that's good. That's exciting. We had our January, I don't know if we recorded since we had our first meeting at Ephrata, but everything's going along there. Stephanie made her Italian stuffed meatloaf, so that was awesome. Yeah, sorry you missed that one, Larry.
Is that like haggis?
No, it's this just meaty, cheesy, saucy goodness. It's saucy. So we got that, and then Grotto last night. I thought Spooner did a great job.
He really did.
It was a really good meeting.
Spooner has not presided as far as I know, over really anything
Correct.
before.
I think he is something in the Constable Association.
Well, bartender maybe, but he really did a great job, and I'm proud of him. So
Yeah, and I know because he's always just such a joker. We all kind of like once we elected him, we're all like, what did we just
Oh, God,
what
what
did
do
we
we
just
do?
do? He's
Yeah.
going to be so ill prepared. And
so we set the bar really low.
but yeah, he really does command attention. Whereas like no
It's
offense,
because he's got a gun. What the hell? Or so does half the room.
but no offense to like Mark. Last year, Mark is 2-time past master. He's like the number 3 guy in commandery in the state of Pennsylvania. But he's so polite and soft spoken that the crowd just would get too unruly.
We got out of hand sometimes. Yeah.
And people shut up when Sean talks, because he talks louder.
I actually thought it was probably one of the best grotto meetings I went to in a long time.
Best one this year.
Yeah.
Best
Best one this year.
Nice.
Amen to that.
Gold star for Sean.
Larry, what are you doing? What's going
Well,
on?
yeah, I actually was pretty busy this past week. Did a petition committee with a candidate on Tuesday, which was really good. One that Lamberton Lodge 476, Justin Troop recommended. And I did tell the candidate that he almost didn't get in because of that, but that's beside the point. And
Well, I've known that guy for
yes, you did.
4 years, and
But I had to spell it out phonetically for our secretary to be able to pronounce it.
Well,
it is Dutch.
well, okay. The last foreign guy, it took him 3 or 4 times to get that spelling right at Grand Lodge.
And Thursday was Goose and Gridiron. Nice attendance.
Yep.
Fellowship that night at Venice Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Beer and pizza.
I had an extra
And,
meeting that night.
And then on Saturday, which we will talk about a little bit later, Pete, his wife, and my wife and I drove up to Allentown for the 12th annual Robert Burns dinner, which we will talk about.
Aye.
And Sunday, of course, Grotto, which I think I mentioned just a little bit earlier, was one of the best Grotto meetings I've been to in a long time. So it's been busy, and here we are tonight, Monday.
Yep. Back in Monarch Studios.
Does
Yes.
this count as a Masonic thing?
Sure it does. Sure it does. Yes, absolutely, it is.
We had a really nice shout out from the boys in Australia about our remote episodes that we've done when we go somewhere to record, whether it be Goose and Gridiron or when we went to Reading.
Yeah, I can't vouch for the quality of the actors, but the sound was really good. I'll give you props on that because it's a loud environment, and somehow you're able to keep some of that background noise down.
It's all luck.
Yeah, the Reading show we did was fantastic, and there were a lot of people there, and the tuba orchestra in the background. I mean, that was good.
But it is nice to be back home.
Yeah, it is. We miss it.
What did I have? I had all kinds of crazy stuff. I had my first meeting as senior deputy Grand Tall Cedar. And our friend C. Larry is a Grand Tall Cedar. And our friend
Cedar Larry.
Ed McGrath is a junior deputy Grand Tall Cedar. So we have a crew of Goose and Gridiron people that are the brain trust of the future of the Tall Cedars.
Yeah, don't call it brain trust.
And you guys just did your midwinter conference.
Absolutely. So that was fun. I had to be at the York Masonic Center at 5 a.m, I guess a week ago Thursday, or I don't know, whatever. And we had a 11-hour bus ride. Oh, God. So painful. And the bus was smaller than any other executive type bus I've been on. Like, anybody that walked down the hallway, the aisleway, was bumping into you. It was painful.
So it was like a flight.
It was worse because, I mean, like, a skinny person went down the middle and they bumped into you. And obviously Masons aren't skinny, so it was really painful.
What do you mean?
He said with a straight face.
So anyway, I mean, the event was fun. And the highlights of my Tall Cedars weekend were I got 2 extra degrees. The highlight was probably the Yellow Dog degree and a past, I'm not sure what the title is for Tennessee. In Pennsylvania, he'd be Right Worshipful Past Grandmaster, but I'm sure it's not that for other states. But he is a past Grandmaster of the state of Tennessee, and he gave us the Yellow Dog degree, and it was just amazing. Even if I learned that degree perfectly, I could not have captivated the audience the way this guy with his facial expressions, his southern drawl. Just he's probably like a 75-year-old, very distinguished man with a flat top. He looked like he was a drill sergeant, nice. 40 or 50 years ago, and still talked like one. So,
you're not the only one in the room that has some sort of degree that has to do with dogs. Jack has the Dober Monster degree, and the penalty of the obligation is
getting bitten,
having your hand ripped off.
Yes, he's been initiated in the kitchen.
Here, sniff. Ow! Okay, thank you. Ow.
Oh, man, my ears.
And then I also got the Sidonian degree. The Sidonian degree, I guess at one time, the Sidonian degree was always given to everybody who became a tall cedar. And somehow or other, that just kind of trailed off to become like a special occasion thing.
Is it tough to do?
No, it's really simple to do. I think the reason why we don't do it is the majority of our tall cedars meetings now are open, so the ladies can see our prologue and royal court. But the Sidonian degree is secret work, so we'd have to have a meeting that's stag again. So anyway, it was fun. Grotto. What else? I had council. All kinds of good stuff. And then the Burns dinner, which Larry and I will talk about in a bit.
And we're back. Episode 45.
So, Jason.
Pete.
I'll let you drive.
Oh, God. So, Larry, Pete, tell us about your Burns supper experience.
Oh, I thought we were going to do Pigeon Forge first.
There is nothing to talk about Pigeon Forge, Larry.
We pigeoned.
We pigeoned. We forwarded.
It was.
Okay.
It's exciting. It's Tennessee. It's not that exciting.
Yellow
He
Dog.
did not see Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Just get over it. Stop wishing.
Well, I'll tell you. To give you an idea, I picked Pete and Stephanie up at 4:30 here in Lancaster. We got up there around 6, cocktails for an hour, 7 o'clock dinner.
Now I need to interrupt. On the way there, I'm trying to talk him into stopping at Yakko's. Yakko's is a hot dog place outside of Allentown.
Where it is. Yep.
And I'm like, let's get some hot dogs in case the food sucks. So, and they think I'm an idiot.
Hot dogs is kind of like haggis.
But I'm a professional fat guy. I know that you're supposed to eat before you go to a dinner. That's just the way you do it. True. And but no, they were showing me on the paperwork hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, 6 to 7.
Right.
Larry, how were the hors d'oeuvres?
They never showed up. So you had your wife and I had my wife complaining very loudly, including some of the people there. Where are the hors d'oeuvres? We're here for an hour
and
drinking.
Our wives are thin.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are vocally upset about not getting food.
No food. So anyway, we sat down at 7 o'clock and we were there until close to 11. I think we finally got out of there by 10:45.
And we bugged out before Auld Lang Syne at the end.
Yes. Yes. It was
sacrilege.
And we weren't the only ones. People started drifting out a few minutes before
it was all the Lancaster people.
Yeah, it is a long drive from
hour and a half.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's part of it. We get there. The meal is kind of late in coming out. First, we have they give us a Kakalika soup, which wasn't bad.
Kakaliki.
It's a Scottish recipe apparently, and then they did the haggis, the ode to haggis. With the bagpiper carried in the tray.
That was neat.
The guy has a great big knife and stabs it and does the whole thing, the ode to haggis, which was interesting. And then they did a toast to the lads and lassies.
That was probably
that was probably one of the better ones. The lassie and the lad doing it. It was really. So it was
a married couple, and they're going back and forth, and kind of like making fun of each other during the whole toast, and it was good.
Then the guest speaker gets up, who is someone we know and is near and dear to our hearts, and totally blows Robert Burns out of the water, and will forever, in my book, I'll never be able to think about Robert Burns and his poems ever again like I did.
You could have heard a pin drop in the room, because this is my first Burns dinner. I'm not Scottish, so I don't really know a lot about.
Ruggieri is not a Scottish name. What?
Imagine that. I didn't know a lot about Robert Burns. I'm like, why are we having a dinner? You know, it's like Red Skelton. Why he gets a dinner?
Because he's awesome.
But yeah, so Tom, if you ask Tom to say something, he is going to speak his heart. And he did some research, and he found there's as much bad stuff about Robert Burns.
Oh, he was a naughty boy.
It's probably actually, the scale's probably more bad than good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Tom starts out naming off all the perverts and the guys that are in jail, like Weinstein and all of them. It's just
He's like Woody Allen, Harvey
people.
Weinstein,
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, all of it. He names them, and that's his opening. And everybody's looking around, and he said, included in that is the poet Robbie Burns.
Oh.
And then he goes into the research that he did and just totally fillets this guy.
Nice.
But then he brings it back around.
Yeah.
And made it very, very Masonic. He gets into like the rough Oshler and the perfect Oshler. And he's a bad human being and he's a good human being. He's a this and he's that. And he kept bringing all that back and he, I don't know, he brought it all together and
did all right. Yeah,
but I learned more about Robert Burns than I.
Oh, he's fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's fascinating.
Absolutely.
Guy. Died young.
Is it Oshler or Ashler?
Ashler, right?
Ashler. Yeah.
And I don't know how many
I was
times.
going to give it to you. That was
I think the second time I said
a
it, I got it
pass.
right.
Yeah, it was a pass.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I implored Brother Tom LeBeau to talk about Robert Frost. Robert Frost may have, and I'm going to say may, I'm stretching.
You realize it's not a
I'm gonna
Robert
say
Frost
so.
night?
Yeah, this was Robert Burns' night.
was cold that
Correct.
night, though.
But on the premise that Robert Frost may have been a Mason, we could have talked about him because there were never any sexual charges. I mean, the man was a perfect saint.
The only thing, if he probably could have done it, if he could have got up there and just talked about Robert Frost for 10 minutes and just kept going and had somebody finally walk up and say, no, hey, Tom, it's Robert Burns.
Yeah, he could have done that.
And like, oh,
That's funny.
good night.
So if Robert Burns was
Never mind.
if he was such a bad character back in the day, how did he even join the fraternity, or was the things that he was doing not considered bad back then?
He was in the fraternity at a very early age. And I think as he matured and became a little more famous.
I'm not saying a bad person. I mean, by today's standards, he would be way up in that Me Too movement.
Politically incorrect.
Yeah.
In the top 5.
But, back in that day, maybe, and I was asking Larry, I'm like, why? Scotland had a lot of famous people and a lot of famous people that were Masons. So, like, why is this the guy? The best I can figure is he was a man's man. He was a drunkard, a libertine. He was a party guy. So all the nice, pretty poems you've heard, he has just as many really dirty ones.
Mostly said with a tankard in his hand.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I could see if it was like a tavern full of men, like, this guy lived a kind of a wild and crazy life. And when he died, like, it has a good excuse for us to get together and have a party.
He's the John Belushi of his day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
Exactly. He died at age 37.
Yeah. Died young.
He partied hard.
From a rough life. Yeah.
Yeah, he partied hard.
Yeah.
It's just, to me in 2017, it's hard to have a dinner with him with my wife sitting there and and just to extol only on the good things, like, because the bad things are more
Not so
fun.
much. Not so much.
So
It was interesting, but it deteriorated further from there.
well, yeah, other little things like the dinner process was 2.5 hours. You had to ask for a steak knife to cut the prime rib. It's never good.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad sign.
But how was the haggis?
The haggis was actually good.
Yes, I love haggis.
They made it with venison and liver, and it wasn't really that bad. To me, it was more of a sweet taste, which I didn't expect that.
It was like a scrapple to me.
I think I had maybe 5 or 6 teaspoonsful, and that was it. I couldn't
Really
eat anymore.
big scrapple.
Yeah,
Well, they served it
big chunks
with
of
big
Scrabble.
chunks of oatmeal.
They
in it.
served it like in like a dessert dish. So it was just like oatmeal
Everybody
or
got a
barley.
taste. Yeah.
I've never tried it, but I picture it tasting like mincemeat.
No,
That's
no.
the consistency of it, but not the taste.
Some people do pour scotch over it when they eat it. That I have
Smart
found
people
out.
do that.
Yeah, I think they do that in Scotland.
It
But
kills,
remember,
it
if you
kills
go to,
all the shit that's in it.
if you go to Scotland and eat haggis, you're eating the innards of that lamb or that mutton or whatever they slaughtered.
I believe that, like lungs are involved. So it's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
things
yeah.
that normal people don't eat.
Does it taste
Lungs,
like
eyes,
like blood
noses,
pudding?
tongues.
Like black pudding at all?
Sorta.
It's kind of hard to. I mean, it is what it is. It's haggis.
Yeah.
It's
Man.
just
Haggis.
Sorry, but
Yeah.
it's fun though.
So-
I mean, it's just it's like St. Patty's Day. How many of us are Irish, right? Robert Burns Night. We're all Scottish. Columbus Day. Shh, don't talk about that.
Well, I had a bagpiper there, which was nice. And most of the officers were dressed in kilts. I mean, in that respect, it was good. They had, what's that huge sword they bring in? The
claymore?
The claymore. They did the claymore.
But it's once again, like
I named a mind after
somebody
that.
like the guy that invited us, Brian Hill, who's about 6'3", 6 foot whatever, and trim build, looks amazing in a tuxedo. You get a guy that's 300 pounds, not so much, and that's.
In a kilt and coat, yeah. You and I were wondering when we got there what we would look like if
And we
wore
found
a
out.
kilt.
We found out because there's guys that look like us.
I'll never wear a kilt.
I won a brooch or whatever you would call it, like a Masonic pin to like hold your kilt shut. So I guess now I have to get a kilt. My people call them togas, but
My people.
my people.
That reminds me of your favorite joke, Pete. Rectum.
Damn near killed him.
Damn near killed him.
Killed him. So maybe we need to, during the break we were talking about something that we should do for the show. And should we have a Burns night? Well, no, other people do it better. Maybe we should have another night.
Maybe we should have a Rudyard Kipling night.
That would be fun.
Oh, yeah. Or as you said earlier, a Ben Franklin night.
Well, you were saying that our host said he apologized because he felt like this was one of the, I'm not going to say worst, but this was not as good as ones he's been to in the past, which is a synonym for saying the worst. But
I will say, and I'm going to quote him, this is probably the worst one he and his wife have been to in the past 12 years.
okay.
I'm quoting him.
But it goes back to my thing. As soon as you have to do something every single year,
Yeah.
it burns out.
Burns.
Burns.
Yeah. But you see, that's why the Lodge in the Woods is now every other year,
Always was.
right?
Yep.
The Cave Degree every other year. So if we did something like your Kipling night, then if we do something next year, then we do the Ben Franklin. We could keep honoring other famous
Why not?
Freemasons, because if you do a Kipling night every year, you can only see the man who would be king, so many times.
Why don't we do a night for somebody who's alive that they can be the guest of honor?
Like a roast,
Yeah.
Nah.
it would get too raw.
Yeah.
All right.
Like who would we like? Who?
I don't know.
I don't know. So it'd either be too much ass kissing or it would turn into a roast. Either one's not fun.
Yeah. It has to be somebody that's passed.
Let's just not tell the person.
Let's kill him and then do it.
It'll be a mystery.
So let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we got some important stuff to talk about.
All right.
Good news, everyone!
Masonic Lite News. News not fit to print.
Masonic News Today. In a recent report in the Gap Lighthouse Gazette, it was announced that a class action suit has been filed in federal court against the Grand Lodges of 20 states for the practice of telling new and prospective members that it's only one night per month. Mike Rochburns of North Shore, Pennsylvania, a member of No-Show Lodge number 96, filed a petition saying,
I was told there wouldn't be any commitment, that I just needed to show up for the monthly meetings if I was in town. Now, 5 years later, I own 2 tuxedos and a whole collection of silly hats. Heck, I haven't had dinner home in 2 months.
If you joined a Masonic Lodge and one day found yourself sitting in an officer's chair, serving on 3 committees and dripping Alfredo sauce on a tuxedo, contact the law offices of Harley, Maris, and Lewis, LLC. Dial the zeros and get the relief you deserve.
And that was our news editor, and he was reading something that was kind of familiar to me.
I don't know where that came from, but oh God, help us all. I actually sat at a meeting and somebody leaned over to me the other night and said, you know, did you hear about the class action suit that's going on across the state? And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I had to explain what People of Lancaster and Central Pennsylvania really is.
Right. So for those of you that don't know, I have it's not always funny, but I have a comedy webpage that I started a few years ago, and I just wrote a satire piece about Freemasonry in August of 2016.
And it's still valid today.
And somehow it just started going viral. And people I saw on my Facebook feed last week, 3 people I know shared it. 2 of them didn't know it was a joke. And I got to the point where, like, so I and the one guy that did know it was a joke, I commented, like, don't listen to that guy. The author's an ass. And then other people are like, you know, it's satire. I'm like, you know, I wrote it. You know. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we've been doing that stupid. It's like the Onion Light, but people
specific to Lancaster County and Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and some
Very
of the
funny stuff.
And some of the other ones that we've gotten people. You know, the Confederate statue downtown getting moved. Oh, the drug sniffing bunnies. That was the
that was
That may
a great
have swung
one.
an election.
That was a great one.
So yeah, there was. We wrote one about the police department getting drug sniffing rabbits because it's cheaper than training drug sniffing dogs. And some guy running for a local political office somewhere
in another county.
Says we need to look at other ideas to save money. I mean, Lancaster's using drug sniffing rabbits. So he got shamed and did not become mayor. So we're doing
really
our
sorry.
part. We're doing our part.
It wasn't us. We didn't do it.
We had a podcast, but nobody listened to it. So that's why we started doing Masonic.
It's funny stuff.
Oh, well.
Scrapple ice cream.
It's where the Gap Lighthouse
Scrapple
came
ice
from.
cream, Gap Lighthouse, all these highlights of Americana.
There you go. You're regionally famous.
I'm a D-level celebrity. So, Larry, Jason, what do we got? What do we got to talk about?
Well, last show we had on the new district deputy grandmaster, and we told him that if there was anything we could do for him, we would do it. You know, so we've been almost, well, by the time you hear this, will be a full month into his
Reign.
His
dictatorship.
Reign. Yeah, his dictatorship. And, you know, one of the cool things that he wanted to do was really ramp up our communications. So if you have not received the First Masonic District email newsletter, and you can sign up for it whether you're a member of this district or not, you should jump over to firstmasonic.org and sign up for that. So if we have First Masonic District brothers listening to this and you're not getting that email, you should do that.
Yeah, and cool things like he's actually embracing that the appendant bodies aren't stealing away from the Blue Lodges; they actually complement. And so, yeah, we're promoting the auxiliary bodies, and then we in turn are promoting the Blue Lodges. I think it's nice, breath of fresh air.
Yep, school is a little bit different.
What's really exciting is he's adopting the new communication technologies that exist. I mean, it's not a newsletter that's folded up and stapled closed and with a stamp and mailed to you. And he's embracing it. It's coming out every 2 weeks, I think, right?
Yeah, the last one just came out a little. Well, it feels like it was early, but this is gonna be every 2 weeks.
So it's nice that he's listening to what people are saying, and he's responding to it. And I think being an adopter of those technologies is going to work well in the district, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that was very serious. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Boom.
it was, yeah.
Meanwhile, I was listening to the herd of thundering rhinos upstairs. My one Doberman loves playing the laser game that cats play, so that's what he's doing all over on top of the studio.
I was thinking about drug sniffing bunnies. I don't know.
Or as my wife said before you guys got here, what time are your little friends coming over tonight? God, no respect.
So, in other news, we have in March, on March 3rd, at the Lancaster Masonic Center, Lodge number 43's Education Committee has our first Lodge 43 lecture series presents. We have the Reverend Dr. Brother Christopher Rodke.
And some professional podcasters.
So we have Rodke, Richards, and Ruark, Triple R. And
Ruggieri will be out hawking merchandise.
The fourth R will be selling scarves. But they're coming up on Saturday, March 3rd.
Just in time for spring. Get your spring scarf.
Roundtable.
And they're two of the co-hosts from
Big draw.
From the Masonic Roundtable. And you can go to our Facebook page and find the Eventbrite to sign up. It's free. It would be nice if you RSVP'd on.
Not only
Eventbrite.
that, we will be there in all of our glory. So the hosts of Masonic Lite podcast
Are we going to be recording?
will be there as well. We can if we want to.
Hopefully in the morning. They're going to come up in the morning.
Yep.
So we have Jason Richards, John Ruark, Chris Rodke from our way here.
Their podcast royalty. Can we get their autographs?
Hopefully. Yeah.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
And so we're going to have Masonic Lite will be there, and we'll have Masonic scarves, and Larry will have his books.
Red Serpent Books will be there.
And maybe Jack will hawk some chocolate. Yeah.
Maybe.
You're more than welcome to.
You just can't let it go above the first into the elevator.
There's rules about But I'd like to throw it out
Please, Jack.
If we do
bring
have,
chocolate.
Bring chocolate. All right, I'll bring
buy.
chocolate.
if we do have
Please.
any Masonic vendors or just any vendors in general, we are trying to offset the cost of.
So I need to ask you, since you're on the building committee,
Yeah.
are they losing their minds because strangers are going to be in the building?
There's really only one person on the board that knows
Stranger
this event's
danger.
happening at the moment.
Okay, because like
Is that you?
Yeah. Hey, when you're
And
the guy,
see Larry. He's probably heard about it, right?
when you book the building, so
Yeah, because Jeff Myers was mentioning that last night. He's like there's signs every 10 feet. No water, no food.
Moyer.
Moyer, yeah, sorry. There's Jeff Myerson too. It's amazing. And then, upstairs, there's a sign with a chair. Keep the chair at least 24 inches away from the radiator.
But we're pulling. There's guys that are RSVPing from out of state, and I think it's going to be a good event.
Somebody's coming from Delaware.
Somebody might be coming from Delaware.
What do I hear about a decorating committee? Do you want to bring that up? What is that? Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, I was. What was the word we used up in Tower City, Pennsylvania? Rooked into
Oh
being
man, I haven't heard
chairman
that since middle school.
for the decorating committee for the Blue Lodge, that 43,476 share.
So it's the Blue Lodge room. It's not
Blue
the
Lodge
beige
room.
basement that everybody can use.
No, this is the Blue Lodge room. And initially,
I think that
last
room's
month,
awesome. I wouldn't change it.
I
It
was
looks like
coming up to your lodge
Greg
and effort
Brady's
to
dad
take
designed it.
pictures and talk to people about what you did and so forth. And that fell through because I ended up, with the flu for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, I talked on your behalf.
You did.
Yes.
You did. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that then.
Well, in my opinion, you know what you can't polish, right? The old saying.
No. Actually, from what I'm seeing from Ryan Flynn in decorating one of the lodges that he's working on right now, Ryan's doing some really killer work on. I forget the name of the lodge that he's doing, but he's putting his sketches up on Facebook for people to
They're
look at.
beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
There is a lot of wall space in that room.
Yes, there is.
And that could be made really impressive.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
If only you had money.
Oh, really?
Well, one thing I said about that building, like we have our old historic lodge that's still downtown, hasn't been knocked down yet, but beautiful artwork all over the ceiling. All you need to do is get some digital cameras and map that whole thing out, and you could get printing in large format printers and you could reproduce some of the artwork that's historic on our walls without having to commission a painter.
You could.
But my thing there is I just have a problem with that building in general. Yeah, you can make any building beautiful on the inside, but I just think your money is time is better spent moving to a different building.
It's so expensive to move.
Yeah, but it's like staying in a bad marriage. We're doing it for the kids.
Well,
no, just get out.
Yeah, it would be tough to leave that. There's a lot of moving parts.
Because I remember even like Ron said in the last podcast, he wanted to do his presentation at the Lancaster Masonic Center, but it was going to be a big turnout, so there wouldn't be enough parking, so they couldn't do it there.
There wouldn't have been enough room in that room.
Then
no, you're right.
Then meanwhile, so that's a big event. We can't have a big event there because there's not enough room. Then when we did our Valley of Lancaster reunion, this huge auditorium, like 3 rows of seats were filled. Like, so we don't need all that room.
Move to Quarryville? Where can you... this is probably a conversation for a different room at a different time.
Wow.
But the point is, I went through... I did the math when we decided to remodel Ephrata, and moving makes you house poor for the rest of your life. It's you can't buy a building with enough facilities and enough parking and enough groundwork under today's current code enforcement stuff. It'd be really tough to build a building big enough to house what you guys have in Lancaster right now. I
know Lebanon did it. I don't know if you've been to the Lebanon Masonic Center.
I have, but have you been to Lebanon? There are fields in Lebanon. There are no fields in Lancaster City.
Well, not in the city.
Not the city, no.
Right, correct.
No.
And, if you look at 43 or Lamberton's roster of...
we're a city lodge.
You're a city lodge, but look at how many people, probably less than 10% live in the city of your membership.
Yeah. How is parking a problem? You have a freaking parking deck right next door.
Well, for old people like me, I'm not going to park in that place and walk a block and a half to get into the building. That's too much.
You have to understand.
You look at all of the.
You should be killed, and then we'll drag your dead ass corpse into the building and put you in the elevator.
I happen to know where there is some property in Mannheim Township that could be purchased for a nice price.
Go for it. When you all go bankrupt, Ephrata will take all of your members in as transfers.
Across the street
no
from
problem.
Pete.
Please buy the property across the street so that
please do.
the mega church doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's a mess up here. That's gonna be terrible.
You should have heard when we were pulling out, we were having trouble getting across the street, and Larry's wife's like, you can't make a left turn out of here. I'm like, we need you at the commissioners meeting when we're fighting the mega church coming in.
Just be another traffic light on 501.
All right, well, enough bickering about buildings.
Grr. Grr. Grr.
We should listen to Seth Anthony.
Yeah, we should.
Corpora Obscura.
Obscurum.
You're about to enter
Corpora Obscura,
the realm of weird fraternal organization.
Leave your Freemasonry behind.
Prepare to meet druids, caliphs, and wild creatures.
Knock thrice.
And enter at your own risk.
Did you just hear that? Was that an owl? Of course not. It's the name of this episode's far-flung fraternal group. The Concatenated Order of Hoo-Hoo. The International Concatenated Order of Hoo-Hoo Incorporated, that's a mouthful, is a fraternal and service organization whose members are involved in the forest product industry. Hoo-Hoo has members in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, and South Africa. The organization was founded on January 21st, 1892 at Gurdon, Arkansas, by 6 men who were involved or interested in the lumber industry. As most of these men were only connected to the lumber industry in a tangential way, company executives, newspapermen, railroadmen, not exactly lumbermen, it was first suggested that the name of the new organization be Independent Order of Camp Followers. However, the group instead settled on the name Concatenated Order of Hoo-Hoo, the word hoo-hoo having become synonymous with the term lumberman. The first concatenation was held at the St. Charles Hotel in New Orleans on February 18, 1892, when 35 of the leading lumbermen of the country were initiated. Membership was restricted to white males over 21 who were engaged in the lumber industry as lumbermen, newspapermen, railroadmen, and sawmill machinery men. Again, men. A Mrs. M.A. Smith of Smithton, Arkansas was initiated before the gender requirement was passed, so she stayed on as the order's only female member. The order was limited to having a maximum of 9,000 members. In the 1890s, it had upwards of 5,000 already. By the 1920s, it had grown to approximately 7,000. The order was more informal than the other secret societies of the day. It didn't have lodge rooms or enforce attendance or anything else that the other orders had. The order did not have any sick, disability, or death benefits, but did quietly perform some charitable work and help other members find employment. The executive committee of the order, known as the Supreme Nine, consisted of the Snark, the Senior Hoo-Hoo, the Junior Hoo-Hoo, the Scrivenator, Bojum, Jabberwock, Custocation, Arcaniper, and Gurdon. Judicial affairs and care of the emblem were delegated to the House of Ancients, which consisted of the past executives of the order and whose members served for life. At each Hoo-Hoo annual, the order would perform an embalming of the Snark, passing him into the House of the Ancients. To date, the Hoo-Hoo still exist. Membership is currently limited to people 18 and up who are of good moral character, who are engaged in the forestry industry, or genuinely interested in supporting the purpose of the aims of the order. Want to learn more about America's fraternal history? Visit the J.H. Rathbone Museum in person in Lafayette, Indiana, or online at jhrathbonemuseum.org.
And we're back. You just heard from Seth Anthony in Corpora Obscurum.
And another wonderful Masonic
Amazing.
body, non-Masonic fraternal body that I don't know what it was.
Fascinating.
Where does he come up with this stuff?
I don't know.
From,
I mean, he's
from
got-
the
He-
museum.
That
he's-
museum
yeah.
that he quotes at the end of everything.
Yeah.
He goes
Is
through
that
the Rolodex with his dues cards. But speaking of Seth, and you guys too, right?
Speaking of Seth.
when you hear
That would be
this-
another segment. Speaking of Seth,
Yeah,
I like that.
When you hear this on Monday, the whatever, it's going to be really close to Masonic Week in Alexandria.
Oh yeah, Alexandria. Yeah.
Are you guys going down?
I'm going down Thursday night to confer the St. Lawrence the Martyr degree. I'm waking up Friday morning and driving away.
I have never. I'm in Junto Council. Nobody has asked me to be in the degree, so I'm probably not going to go down Thursday because if I'm in it, I don't know about it. I was going to go, so I might go down Thursday.
Wait,
and just
nobody told
watch.
you? It's kind of like people reserving the Masonic Center. I feel your pain.
Right.
Reservation officer. What's that all about?
So I don't know. I hope I don't have a part because I'm not learning it.
You do not have a part.
Okay, so good. Then I probably will not be down Thursday night.
Bummer.
Well, if you're down there on Saturday, you can get your Muscovites, the Noble Order of the Muscovites degree, which is going to be conferred by Kremlin Penza. So I'll be down there with Seth, and that's on Saturday. Go to our Facebook page.
Kremlin.
Kremlin, yeah.
Really? Like the place in
Yeah, we hack your computers.
Pirates of Penza.
As Pete says, Pennsylvania. Yes,
Pennsatucky.
Pennsylvania.
But the Noble Order of Muscovites is a side degree. Used to be attached to the Oddfellows. Now it's
But we stole it.
standalone. Yeah. And we'll be down there. It's a lot of fun. A lot of yelling, a lot of screaming.
You're going down.
We
yeah.
Well, your folks live down there, don't they?
Yep. I'm going to go to Gaith-
Our degree.
2 hours to Gaithersburg, another hour and a half to Alexandria.
The, what?
Yeah.
They live in Gaithersburg.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, it only takes me an hour and a half to get there.
Jeez.
You're taking the long way.
Alexandria is a hike from there.
No, it's
Oh.
Another hour.
It's the other.
Well,
and traffic. Holy sh!
Yeah.
I'm trying to work it
schmoes.
out though that the dog I'm fostering, her forever home is in Alexandria, Virginia.
Did she get adopted?
She got adopted, and the new owners are going to be in Alexandria, Virginia. So
What about the other two?
they're staying here to torment Jack. But yeah, so I'm going to try and drop her off, and then while I'm in Alexandria, I will go to the hotel.
He's looking at his scar.
I need a transfusion.
Oh, I just want you to know, Jack, Rocco is one of my best friends.
Shut up. I hate you. I hate you more.
The dogs are all calm to Larry and Jason, and then Jack is
I walk in, I'm
75 feet away from the house on foot,
I'm
and
like
they're going nuts.
kryptonite to these dogs. What the hell? What is it?
It must be the bacon.
They can sense
I would
evil.
love you if you didn't hate me.
They can sense evil.
It's like politics. I would love you if you didn't hate me. Come on, stop it.
All right. Let's put this one to bed.
All right. So what do you have coming up next week or two? Other than you got
lots of extra meetings. We got 9 or 10 degrees coming up. We have 3 extra meetings next month. Stated meeting. Just getting ready for this March 3rd. So go to the Facebook page. You can see all the stuff that's happening. And yeah, that's really about it. Jack?
What? I don't know. I'm going down to Masonic Week for 20 minutes for St. Lawrence the Martyr degree.
You're driving 2 hours to do 15-minute degree.
I'm driving 3 hours because it's the other side of Washington, D.C., and I'm spending $200 for a hotel room and meals so that I can do 20-minute degree, and then I'm coming home. And everybody will say, it's all about the cocktails and networking. I suck at networking. If you see me there, I will be the sad guy with a drink who doesn't talk to anybody because I'm an asshole.
Jack, you're killing me.
You know what, though? All they're going to do... Wow.
Zap them.
Wow. So they're coming from me.
All they're going to do is try and sucker you into... Especially when you get done being high priest.
That's why they hate me. I say no. No.
Because that's what Brian Hill said. Once he got to be high priest, he started getting invited to every AMD type body there was.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
Well, maybe not for you.
No. Not so much.
Larry, you have breakfast. What else do you have?
Yeah, breakfast, stated meeting next Tuesday. Degree work that following Thursday. Our new member, Tony, will be getting his Master Mason's degree.
Tony.
Second degree.
Nice.
Guy from Lidditz, third degree. So I'll be at those meetings. It'll be a busy week next week.
Very good. Tell Dan I said, hey, I'm the first line signer.
Yeah.
So tell him I said, hey.
Because you won't be there.
I won't be there.
Interesting thing for our stated meeting, our district deputy grandmaster will be in attendance, and we will open our lodge in the first degree. Yeah. So everybody that's got a first, second, is able to come in and witness the actual stated meeting.
All one of them?
No, we have about 5 or 6.
Damn.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, if you're an entered apprentice Mason,
if you want to come and see our secretary read the bills
in our district. In our district, the district deputy said
a stated meeting was held on
right. You can travel with your master.
And we closed in harmony.
What do you have going on, Pete?
Let's see. So one of the things I got roped into was I am the chairman of the sub sale for Tall Cedars of Lebanon. Hoagies, grinders, whatever part of the country you're from, sandwich.
Hoagies.
So that's exciting.
You can order on Eventbrite, by the way, which I did today.
And Eventbrite.
Eventbrite, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm just, my goal is to keep trying to like stir things up in all these different bodies and just throw ideas out there, then run away.
How late can you put your sub order in? Because by the time you hear this, the pickup will be tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you can't. You're done. You can't get a sub.
All right, you're screwed, listeners.
So
Sorry.
if you're listening, those subs were amazing.
Man.
Weren't they good? Oh my God, Larry, did you enjoy your sub?
That was a $12 sub.
Wow,
for $5.
what a sub that was. Wow.
Yeah, so that's it. I have nothing else.
So wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, go
cutting
ahead.
in. Cutting in. Zembo Shrine building?
It's done.
Done deal.
So it will take, they have events booked supposedly up to the summer. And then it's going to take a while. So there's going to be
they have a lease. They have a lease written in that they can keep using the building for X amount of years.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. So to be seen. But it's going to take at least 6 months or a year to things to really start.
Cool. But the plan, as far as I understand, is that the building will maintain its character and become a venue for things.
That's what I read.
So nobody
is that what I saw?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's public who the buyer is or not, but all
it
signs
is, yeah.
All signs are pointing
Temple something or other Associates.
if that's the case, then it's like Temple
awesome.
Live, which is turning them into kind of like
Death metal?
No,
Come on.
no, I'm drawing a blank. Like,
Oh, come on.
Not House of Blues, like House of Blues, kind of that
Oh,
vibe.
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Harrisburg needs this.
Well, the Harrisburgs don't have a lot of fresh cars to break into.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not in the best neighborhood.
Yes. New tires to burn? Come on. It'll be awesome. No, kidding. Harrisburg's lovely.
It's better.
Downtown.
Well, nobody cares, but Pop and Foos has done a good job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
Alrighty. I think that's it. Anything else?
Sorry.
Larry, take us home.
Larry left his phone.
Cue
in
the
Larry,
chickens.
Larry left his phone in the car.
Oh, look at Larry's
I did.
face.
I left my phone
He's
in the
giving
car.
us a look like the.
I can remember all those funky names.
Okay,
Sure,
okay,
I can.
Okay, start the music.
Cue the chickens.
Remember that guy Nate I was talking about earlier?
No, he is not.
No,
here.
no, we're not going to bring
He's
Nate
not a
out
part
there.
of this.
Anyway, I do thank our producer, Jason Lewis, for always bailing us out and putting on a good show.
That's all hail Jason.
We're here at beautiful Monarch Studios tonight, so thank the proprietors of Monarch Studios and
Woof, woof.
to one of our producers,
Lady
one of our
Stephanie.
hosts, Pete, and Lady Stephanie, absolutely. Also, too, to Jack Hartley, our news director. Jason Lewis, our producer. Pete Ruggieri, our host. Myself. And I really have I really have nothing else beyond that. I apologize. I left my phone in the car, and all my show notes are on that.
Larry, you're fired.
Okay. Thanks for listening. This is Larry Maris.
Pete Ruggieri.
Jason Lewis.
And Jack Hartley.
Good night.
So let's take a quick break and we'll come back and we got some important stuff to talk about.
All right.
I don't know what the topic is, but.